So I do just kind of want to jump into the message. I've been just praying for you, thinking about you. I love this theme, and I really do love this moment of the conference. I love all the sessions you've been having. I love all the worship that you've been having. I know that God's been moving, but I really do. I'm honored to kind of have this last moment with you. This is a pivotal moment. This is an important moment for how we leave this room, for where we go from here. Because the reality is that so many times where we experience God, we go to a conference, we go to a church thing, you have these great moments with God, but who knows that sometimes it's easy to be close to God in here, but sometimes when those doors open and you walk back into the world and you walk back into all those different things and you walk back into your family life and different home lives, it can be so difficult to kind of live what God's called you to do. Have you ever felt like that before? And that was always a tension for me. And the problem is that honestly we get in a room like this and God begins to move and you kind of have these thoughts like, man, I could just be here all day. I could just spend so much time here. I wish we could just continue to worship. I wish it could just stay right here. I feel so close to God. I feel so close to my friends. You're all fired up. You're all motivated. God has spoken to me. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what God called. Anybody feel like that God has just moved in their life over this weekend and you're just motivated to live your life from God? Come on, why don't we get a little bit better than that? A little bit better than that? You're going to have to give me a little bit more? Okay, good. And the problem is that you have these moments with God, but then as soon as you go to leave this room, you have these thoughts in the back of your mind that is, man, now I've been healed, I've experienced joy, I've been developed, I've been trained. I know you had some labs and different things like that. I think that's so cool. But the tension is that when we leave here, all of a sudden you're reminded that you're going home to a messed up family situation. You're leaving here and God has spoken to you that, hey, you need some new friends in your life. Some of those people you've been hanging out with are not who you need to be hanging out with anymore. And you're facing this tension of, what do I do? You feel like God has spoken to you that you need to be a leader in your school. And that's awesome. That's exciting when you're in here. But that's difficult sometimes when I walk into school on Monday morning. It's difficult when I go home and I see my family, or it's difficult when I feel good about myself when I'm with all my church friends and I'm here. But then when I leave here, oftentimes I struggle because I feel insecure. Or I struggle because I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like I haven't overcome enough in my life. And we fight this tension of having this full-on passion, this full-on desire, this full-on experience with Jesus. But we go out into the world and the world tries to rob it so quickly. And so you're motivated, you're fired up, and then you kind of get thrown back into the fire. And how many of you have ever been to an event like this? God does something in your life, and then a few months down the road, you're just wishing you could go back to the event. You're just wishing that another thing would be on the calendar. I wish that there would be another conference. I wish there'd be another guy because I just need it. You almost have this mountaintop moment with God. And then as soon as you leave, you start to experience these lows. And you kind of live your relationship with God. I bet there's a lot of us that have felt like this. I know I certainly did. Is that you have these moments with God. Your relationship with God is kind of mountaintop, valley. I go to the conference. It's amazing. I go back home into my family and I struggle. I go to church on Wednesdays. It's so much fun. Oh, I get to be around my friends. I love it. I love it. I love it. I get back in a car with my dad, and we have a bad relationship, and boom. I go to school on Monday, and I struggle with this, and boom. And then you just live this life of, I want to live for God so bad. I want to do the things that God has called me to do. I want to be motivated. I want to do all this. But the world is just overcoming you. The world is just overwhelming you. And so the reality is that every single one of you have experienced something from God this weekend, and every single one of you has the next step of when you walk out this door. And you're feeling that. You feel the changes you need to make. You're motivated to do those things. So the question is, where do we go from here? What do we do now? We're fired up. We're motivated. What do we do? Where do we go? What do we say? How do we stay in this mode? Well, if you want to talk about somebody who had a calling on their life but faced something difficult, what we have to do is we have to go to Jesus. So I want to read Hebrews 12, chapter 12, verses 1 through 2. Listen to this verse, talking about Jesus and how he lives out the calling that he had ahead of him. Because who knows, it was not easy for him to go to the cross. It was not just, hey, let me just wake up, I'm all motivated, I cannot wait to go to the cross. Who knows that there was struggles with that. There was difficulty. There was pain with that. He said, God, if there's any way you could take this away from me, if there was any other way, I would rather do that, but I will do this. But God, if there was any other way, I'd be willing to go that direction. Jesus shows that he's even struggling with that to go to the cross. So how did he get through it? Hebrews 12 says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely. Let me just break this down for a minute. So first of all, it's saying is you got to remember that when you're living out your calling with God, there is a cloud of witnesses. There is great people of faith, the great people of history and faith that are cheering you on to live out your calling. That you're not just doing this alone. That yes, it's Pastor Sam. Yes, it's your youth leader. Yes, it's your church family. But there's also these generations of Christians that are cheering for you. That are going, go, you can do it. Keep fighting. Keep going through. There's such a great cloud of witnesses. What we need to do is we need to throw off every weight, everything that would hold you down, everything that would cause difficulty, all this sin that comes after you and so easily entangles you. We got to throw some of that aside. There's been a lot of you that over these last few days, God has spoken to you, hey, you don't need to watch that, see that, say that, hear that anymore. You need to remove that. And that needs to be our next step. We need to remove these things from our lives and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. You have a race before you, students. You have a calling in your life. You are in this room. God knew you would be in this room, and He has something for every single one of you. You got to believe that. You got to settle that in your heart. You have a race that is before you. And we run this race looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith. And here's the key. Here's how He did it. He's the founder and the perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before Him, He endured the cross. The joy that was set before Jesus, the joy that He saw in the future, gave Him the strength and the endurance to endure the cross, despising the shame, and now He is seated at the right hand of God. Let me break this down for you. Is that when Jesus is having these moments, when he's struggling about going to the cross, when he's struggling about dying a gruesome death, being tortured and beaten and whipped and facing all of these things, when he needed deep down motivation, the Bible teaches us that he would look to the other side of the cross, and that would where his motivation would come from. Well, you got to know, students, that Jesus would have went to the cross if it was just for you. So let's just get that right. He would have went to the cross. He would have died on the cross if it was only just for you. But the reality is that Jesus had the endurance to go to the cross is because He knew what was on the other side of the cross. He knew that not only you would be saved, but billions would be saved. He knew the devil would be defeated. He knew that the devil's grip off this world would be broken. He knew that he would spend eternity with His people. That when He go to the cross, He saw every single hurting person, every painful thing of sin, everything that sin causes, all the death in the world, all the destruction of the devil. He would look at that cross. He would have the strength to go through because He knew that there was joy on the other side of the things that He had to endure. He knew that. He fought for that. He dug deep for that. So let me say this to you. You got to make sure tonight that you don't think this is all about you. That you don't think that this conference is about you. That you don't think your relationship with God is about you. It's so easy to be in a room like this and go, man, I wish we could just worship forever. I wish I could just spend all my time here. I wish I could just, yes, we're so thankful that God is healing you and He is restoring you and He's bringing joy in your life. He wants to do all those things in your life. But don't get it twisted for a moment that you think it's so this room can be all holy and spiritual and happy and joyful. It's not for this room. It's for the room outside of here. That's what you got to know, is that it goes beyond you, that Jesus is saving you because He sees a family on the other side. He sees your middle school on the other side. He sees the high school on the other side. He sees every person that you encounter in your life that can be touched and blessed by the life of Jesus, just like you have. Look at the person next to you and say, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's so important that every single one of us realizes that Jesus has saved you because there is a generation of hurting, broken, challenged people on the other side that He's called you to go to. They're struggling, they're dealing with things. If you are someone that you came in this weekend and your life lacked joy and now you have it, it is your job to make sure that other people around you receive that same joy. If you are someone that walked in here and you were not healed, you were broken, you faced so much difficulty in your life, you struggled, you had thoughts of depression and anxiety, and God has healed you, He has healed you so that you could go reach out to the next person behind you that needs the same thing. Is this making sense? Are you with me tonight? Are you with me tonight, students? It's not about us. And this is my little soapbox, honestly, right now about church a lot of times, especially about youth ministry. Because we come into the room and we start to do all these things and we start to sing all these songs and have all these moments, and really we start to get selfish and we just desire kind of what we want. When a room like this is really designed for the people that don't know anything about this, is that we're down front worshiping, but the best thing that we could be is a bringer to the room of someone that's lost, that's hurting. That we're motivated to experience God. Don't hear me for a second that God doesn't want you to grow in your relationship with Him. Of course He does. But the most spiritual thing you could ever do is to invite someone into the presence of God. The most powerful thing you could do in your relationship with God is introduce other people into that same relationship with God. We can't get it twisted. We can't get caught in this moment. This is about us. It's called World Changers Conference for a reason. And it's not your world changer. It's not about changing your world. It's about changing the world and everybody around us. Some of you have siblings. You're called to your siblings. Some of you have lost parents. You're called to see your parents saved. That was my situation. I got one brother right now that years and years after I've been saved, he's getting close. Been praying for him for over 10 years. He's getting close. I'm the little brother. Both my parents have been saved. That was a calling on my life. And for every single one of you that's here that has a similar situation like that, that is your calling. You have people in your school. As I'm talking about this, some of you even have names and you're seeing people drop in your heart, drop in your mind that you need to reach out to. You know who they are. Every single one of you that's on a sports team, you're in a club, you're in the band, you do whatever you do, you're called to that spot. You're called to those people. You're called to those people. It's so important that we make sure that we don't get it about us. So the question is, and I'm going to end you with just 3 things right here, and I want you to know at the beginning of this, at the end, we're going to have an altar call moment, and it's going to call you to respond. But I don't want you to respond unless you're ready to respond. Don't respond because the person on the left or right of you is just responding. Respond really because you feel like God is speaking to you. We have these moments a lot of times where it's like, hey, we're just going to run down there. No. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a commitment. So let's make sure that when you step up to the commitment, you're ready for the commitment. So here's what I want to jump into. Psalm 92, 12 through 15. How do we do this? How do we change our world? How do we stay here? How do we stay in the mountaintop moment that you're experiencing right now? Psalm 92 says, the righteous will flourish like palm trees. They will grow strong like cedars of Lebanon. Here's the key. Planted in the house of the Lord. They will flourish in the courts of our God. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green, proclaiming, the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no weakness in Him, no wickedness in Him. I love this because it says the righteous will flourish like a palm tree. When we study biblical the concept there, palm trees are always this great symbol of health. So the Bible promises that when we are planted in the house of the Lord, when you are planted in the things of the church, when you are planted in God's people, in the ministry of God's people, the promise is that you will begin to live a healthy life. That God will come in and heal you. He'll heal your heart, heal your mind, heal you physically. And the other thing is it says that they will grow like a cedar of Lebanon. Cedars of Lebanon in the Bible, when we study the context, are always these symbols of strength. So the promise is that you would be healthy and you would be strong. When you are planted in the house of the Lord. There's another translation that actually says transplanted in the house of the Lord. We talked about this with Pastor Mark today. That every single one of us has this option where our lives are planted. We have deep roots in the things of the world. And then all of a sudden we give our lives to the Lord. And the Lord gives you this opportunity to uproot your life, move you into the things of God, plant yourself down into the people of God, the place of God, and begin to get healthy, strengthened, and restored because you are in the house of the Lord. And the promise continues that not only will you experience that, you will flourish. So your life won't just be baseline. You will excel. You will exceed. You will grow. You will be challenged. And then even in old age, you will produce fruit. Even when you're old, it's saying you're still going to be doing good things for God. You will proclaim that the Lord is upright. He is my rock and there is no wickedness in Him. The promise goes on that it will pass through generations because you decided to be planted in the house of the Lord. So number one, how do we do it? Is you have to commit to the church. You got to commit to the church. Let me tell you, it's real trendy right now to like hop youth groups. It's like real trendy right now to listen to a bunch of messages that are just on TikTok and Instagram. Let me tell you, that's cool as like a little supplement. But this is what sustains you. It's real normal in the world right now to just kind of jump in. If you would study it, it says that most people go to church right now about one time a month. That's a ridiculous stat. That's not commitment. That's just kind of there. We got to dive in. We got to be committed to the church, planted in the house of the Lord that will flourish in the courts of our God. Let me tell you something. We aren't having church because it's fun and cool. This team didn't come in here and tape all these things on the walls that I'm tripping over, Pastor Sam, I'm sorry. We didn't hang all these things, get the drums, get the team in here, work for hours, pray for months, beg you to register. They're hitting you up all the time. Hey, you got to register. You got to be there. You got to be there. You got to be there. You got to go. They didn't throw it all on Instagram, throw it on social media, pray for all these messages. I didn't get in the car last night and drive through the night at 3 a.m. so that you would have a fun time. That's not the goal here. We are having these environments, having these moments because they are the catalyst. They are the locker room. They're where we come in together, we encounter the presence of God, you get close to your friends, you get in the right relationships. Then in return, we leave this room and go back out into the world to change the world. You got to have this. And when we live this life of, it's just my relationship with God is really just kind of like a me and him thing. Like it's just between me and him. I pray and I worship a little bit in the car and I kind of do this. No. Christianity is a team sport, everybody. It's a team sport. I need you, you need me. We are the body of Christ and we got to be committed to the house of the Lord. And let me tell you right now, the biggest hindrance in your relationship with God and your spiritual growth could be your commitment to the body of Christ. They are not separate things. They are one and the same. Look at the person next to you and say, I need you. I need you. We got to have each other's back. We got to be committed to the church. Matthew 16:18. I will build my church and the gates of hell will not overcome it. Number 2 is we got to be committed to relationships. We got to be committed to relationships. We aren't designed to go through all this alone. Like I just said, it's a team sport. We're not designed to be solo Christians. Your relationship with God is not just your relationship with God. Your relationship with God, like I've said over and over, is not just about you. You need a group of people. You need people that love you. You need people that care for you. You need to fight for each other. You need to have each other's back. And let me tell you, I remember the tension. Because when I got saved, I was having fun with my friends. And then when I would look at the church people, no offense to church people, I remember I kept getting invited to church by this guy, and I knew I needed to go, and I knew I needed to get my life right, but I was so scared that meant that he was going to become my best friend. I was like, bro, I like God. I don't know if I like you that much. You know what I'm saying? And there's this great tension that all of a sudden is like, wait a minute. I'm going to go to church, but I'm not really going to dive all in. Like, I'm going to go to church and hang, like, get Jesus, get all this, and I'm going to run over here and I'm going to hang out with my friends that don't care anything about that because they're a little bit more fun. Let me tell you, that's a pet peeve of mine. If you're someone in the room and you're someone in your youth group or your church or whatever it is, and you look around and you say, man, there's not a group of Christians running around having fun. Guess what? It's your job. It's you now. You're like, man, we never get together. Get them together. You're like, man, I go to church and I struggle to meet friends. Well, start being the loudest one in the room. Start giving out the most hugs. Start giving out the most high fives. Start being the biggest encourager. Start being the one that's around people. Let me tell you something. You got to have people. You got to have people. You got to fight for relationships. We got to be committed to this. You got to be, wait a minute. Don't talk about them. Wait a minute. I'm not going to say that about them. Wait a minute. We're not going to have these closed circles and start having these little conversations. We ain't going to do this. No. These are my family. These are the people of God. They got my back. I got your back. This is a safe place. I'm going to come in here and be open and be honest and watch as God heals and restores all of us. And guess what? You're going to mess up and I'm going to forgive you because I'm going to mess up and I'm going to need you to forgive me. We got to fight. We got to be committed to these relationships. We're not committed anymore. There's so many of that. There's so many, man, well, I love church, but then they started singing that one song and I hate it. I was going to church, and then they started letting Brittany lead worship, and Brittany's awful. So I stopped going. I was going to church, but, then that one guy over there, and, he's always at church. He was kind of rude to me, so I just don't really like church folks. When did this guy become like the incarnation of Jesus? Like, why is he everything? And you're like, you know what? I'm abandoning it all. There was 1,000 people there, but I'm leaving because Tyler was mean to me. No. Come on, hey, I'm being real, aren't I? You've heard these stories. You've seen these things. We got to be committed to each other. I remember, let me tell you, when I got saved, I remember I had to change my life. I remember, man, I think I spent 2 months walking through the hallways with headphones in. You know, string. I didn't have no AirPods in. Getting caught in your shirt. We used to tuck it in the shirt, a little slick. Hey, straight up, I remember I used to put them in. I used to have to blare just worship music in the hallways because I couldn't. I knew I was going to go to my old friends. And I just knew I had to change. I couldn't do it. I would just listen to music, listen to worship music, and I would just avoid. I isolated myself. I had to go through the season. I remember being in my room, legit, being in my room on my knees going, God, please give me friends. God, please give me friends. God, I don't have any friends anymore. I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with it. And you know what I could have did? I could have bailed. And my life would have fell apart. I would have ran right back. But let me tell you, God began to bring people into my life. And it wasn't all of a sudden I felt like I was running through, high school with 150 people. Honestly, can I be honest with you? I felt like a loser for a while. I got saved my freshman year. I felt very popular before then. I felt like all that fell off. It was whatever. I was committed to God. And I got one friend. And I remember I found this guy at my church. He went to another school. He went to like the rival school. We ain't supposed to be friends. We ain't supposed to hang. I remember his family was all rich. My family was all broke. His parents had like a good marriage. Mine, I don't even know if they were really married. It was like kind of like that deal. I remember he played baseball. Like, no, I wrestled and played football. He had like this long, like flowy hair, and he had like a Mustang, and I had like a 99 Blazer, baby, and I was like ready to rock. Like, let me tell you, there was nothing in common. And I remember going to him. His name was DJ, and I said, DJ, I need a friend, bro. And he said, I need a friend too. And I said, guess what? We're best friends. Straight up, this is a real story. We're best friends, and I got your back. And let me tell you something. We began to change our entire youth group. We began to change our entire schools. I remember people would freak out when they would see us together because they could not believe the schools that we hang out and how close of friends we were. I started to go to games, football games at his school. We walked through and everybody knew who we were. And the same thing at my school. And we began to turn the tides. That guy was in my wedding. That guy is still a friend today. He's still one of the closest individuals in my life. Nothing on common in paper. And God began to do an amazing move in our youth group. Why? Because we just looked at each other and said, hey, bro, I know we ain't got a lot in common. I know we don't, but I need somebody. And guess what? If you need somebody, we can meet together. And I got your back forever. I got your back forever. I need a friend. Be my friend. You got to be that for somebody. Somebody needs to be that for you. Let it be said that this is the church where it's like, man, no, they won't talk bad. They won't be hating on each other. No, man, let me tell you, they family in that room. You got to be committed to relationships. Band, why don't y'all come on out? Love what Proverbs 17:7 says. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Let me tell you, you're going to struggle. You're going to go through things. And you're going to need people. You're going to need people. And here's how I want to close with this. I want to close with number 3. And I just want to set up a moment here where for all of you that just feel committed, all of you that feel called, all of you that are in this room tonight, and you know that it's not just, this just wasn't for you anymore. I think some of you, you've been here before and you've been scared to go all in. You've been scared to surrender all those things in your life. Some of you, you've been in church for years, but you've just kind of been in the back. You've felt like you should step out and lead and you just wouldn't. You felt like you should be the person that starts to invite and you can't. You think you need to reach out to those people and you've struggled with that. Number 3, the last thing that we do. How do we do this? How do we live this life that God has called us to live? It's number 3, we got to commit to being the light. We got to commit to being the light. I'm going to commit to church. I'm going to get healed. Hey, look at me. Get healed. Get restored. Let God move and work in your life. I know you've struggled. I know you're dealing with some things. I know your life has not been the way you wanted it to be. I know. We're all in that boat. Whether it's been super extreme or whatever. Hey, your worst day is your worst day no matter what compared to anybody else's. It's still your worst day. So get healed, get restored. Do all that. Yes, I believe that that's happening this weekend. I believe that it already has. Commit to each other. Look at me, the best gift that you could be in this room is a bringer. Not even just an inviter, a bringer. I'm bringing people with me, and you can be a friend. And the number 3 is you got to commit to being that light. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. You have that opportunity. Look what Jesus says in John 8:12. He says, I am the light of the world. We know that. We know that Jesus is the light. We know that Jesus is the one who calls us. We know that Jesus is the answer, right? So what's the answer for our problems? Is Jesus. We know that. But he doesn't stop there. Because then we read later in Matthew chapter 5, verses 14. And listen to what he says. In John, he said, I'm the light of the world. And in Matthew, he says, you are the light of the world. He turns it back on you. Turns it back on me. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. What's he saying? He's not saying that you're the answer. He's not contradicting himself. What he is saying is that because you have experienced his light, now the light of God is inside you, and you have become the light of the world. Look at me, students. You are the light for your city. You are the light for your school. You are the light for your friends. You are the light for your families. This is not about you. This is not about you. Jesus said he leaves the 99 for the one. Guess who we are? We're the 99. We're the 99. Welcome to the club of the 99. Guess what our job is? We got ones everywhere. And you better go get them. And we better go change them. And we better go pray for them. And we better go love them. And we better bring them to church. We got to be committed to the light. Let me tell you, the best thing about being a Christian is walking into a room where a bunch of people are discouraged or afraid or overwhelmed, and coming out of a service like this where you've been jumping and you've been praying and you've been filled with God, and you walk into the room and you bring the light into your school, you bring the light into your family, the light into your friends. You begin to see people get saved and healed and changed and delivered. You got to be the light. You got to be the light. Let me end with this verse. I want you to stand to your feet. Just stand to your feet with me. The prophet Isaiah, he's having a vision. He is seeing God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He's seeing this. He's having this open vision. And he overhears a conversation between the creator of the universe. Imagine that for a moment. He hears what they're saying. Listen to what they say. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? And what did he say? Here I am. You can send me. I think this is a here I am, you can send me moment.